Diana wish for Steve Trevor to come back to her. I doubt that she asked that his soul, spirit, whatever, would be placed in another man's body and have him come back to her like that. That would be a very weird wish, but still they chose to do that, which had some odd consequences during the movie. Well, let's just gender swap for a second. What if you have Clark Kent in Man of Steel 2? Lois Lane has passed away for whatever reason, but Clark Kent finds a way to put the soul of Lois Lane into another woman's body who's completely unaware and unconscious during the time Lois Lane possesses her. Well, they have a romantic engagement, if I may put it like that, and then the movie ends with the woman being freed of the spirit of Lois Lane, and then Clark sees her, that woman, and then he compliments her on her outfit. I think the world would be on fire. The fandom would rage. However, this is exactly what happened in Wonder Woman 84. They made that choice to do it like this. I have no doubt in my mind that Patty Jenkins did not mean it to come across that way, but it has been pointed out, and I would like to discuss it shortly. Starting with you, Cheetah, what did you think about that?
I thought it was interesting, considering how many other unbelievable things happen in that movie. I don't know why they had to do it that way. Why couldn't he just come back? I mean, I knew once she wished that he was going to come back, but didn't know they were going to do it that way exactly. So it was a little uncomfortable and a little weird. So yeah, I was weirded out by it. And I know what you're saying. If it had been, the genders had been reversed, it would have been like, crazy town for everybody. But so I get it. It's weird. I think it was just strange.
Yeah. Taylor, your thoughts about it?
I thought it was a very odd choice to go with that way in the story. I'm not sure why they did it. The makers of the movie obviously wanted to have that scene at the end where she meets the man on the street. I guess they wanted it to be, an indication of her moving forward or something. I mean, I'm not a writer. I don't know exactly what they were trying to do. I thought it was an odd choice. It occurred to me while I was watching it that the wishing stone, which is so funny, the wishing stone seemed to take the path of least resistance. If it could fulfill a wish in an easy way that no one would even notice, that's how they did it. But if it had to make a wall appear around Egypt, that's what it did. It did whatever it had to do to fulfill the wish. And maybe that was the easy way to bring a dead person's soul back rather than reanimating his lifeless, his burned to a crisp body that exploded in World War I. Maybe that was the way they did it. Again, weird choice in the way they did it. However, I don't see the morality issue that's been brought up, and the only place that I've seen that brought up is on R2 boards. I haven't seen it in any other media. Maybe it's out there somewhere.
Well, it's all over Twitter. Just search on Twitter for a Wonder Woman and the word rape, and it comes up a lot. A lot of people have been questioning this, but there's also a lot of people who are defending it.
Well, let me post it this way. That person, that guy, was gone. That was now Steve Trevor. He was not coming back. She didn't even know at that time she could undo the wish. He was not dormant somewhere. He no longer existed. That person was gone. That was now Steve Trevor. And he was fully consensual, as anyone would be. So that's one way to look at it. I don't see an issue. As far, this is the reason I'm not on Twitter. It's full of a very, very loud, tiny group of people that I do not like. So I'm not on Twitter. I don't really care what's said on Twitter. I'm going to put it the nice way. I'll put it this way. Twitter is an echo chamber. 6 people can create a massive movement on Twitter. So I don't think it's as big an issue as some people are making it out to be. I fully understand, people seeing it in an odd way. I just personally don't see it that way. I don't think it's a controversy.
Fair enough. Biz, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, there's no going any way about it. It is an odd choice, but I think people are, I don't know, I think they're just trying to look for something to complain about. I mean, like, yes, it's a legitimate complaint, but I mean, do we really think that Diana's a rapist? Come on. I mean, seriously, like, that's what it boils down to. Like, I mean, it wasn't shown to be in that kind of way. It wasn't meant to be that way. I think people are overthinking it. But I just didn't think, like, I kind of agree with what Taylor has said. I mean, like the Dreamstone, there is like a, how would you say, like, be careful what you wish for, and also like going through the history of it, like with that guy, which was kind of like a forced kind of exposition. Yeah, like there's trickery involved. So like Taylor was saying, maybe it's the path of least resistance because like that's like another level, reanimating a corpse. Like maybe that god can't do that, so they had to do it this way. So yeah.
Okay. Max, you have anything to add?
Yes, I can rationalize some of it. I would say that his body has been damaged and deteriorated over the years, so you don't want him summoned back into that lest you get a Solomon Grundy into the universe. So it makes sense that they would be trying to do something that's a little more rational there from the production of the magic there. My problem with it is if a person's unconscious, you could say that their mind's not there. It comes off a little, I've been calling it a spirit roofie, to be honest. Like there's ways of justifying it because it is him that's been brought back, but there's also ways of wondering about the moral value of that and maybe considering it a little before acting on your instincts. This guy could have come back as anyone. It seems interesting that they chose that one. From a story perspective, I would think that this guy is going to probably be used in the future, hopefully maybe as a future romantic interest for her, maybe as either a hero or villain who's researching what happened to him in that lost time period. So I think there is potential to move forward with that story, and there could be a sensible reason for having chosen him. But the moral gray area on it is definitely something that's worthy of scholarly debate.
Yeah, what struck me most about it is the fact that they never even acknowledged this. I mean, yeah, they say like the guy got it, but they never at one moment stopped to think from, hey, this guy had a life and we're taking that away. He has loved ones, we're taking him away from his loved ones. That's why it felt odd to me. And then the last scene, yeah, that sealed the deal for me. That I did not like the way they handled the comeback for Steve Trevor. But that's the only opinion I'm going to give. Max.
Yeah, I actually think this goes together into a trend we were discussing earlier across DC. It feels like there's no thought about the consequences of things. Like the why didn't she use all these extra powers in Batman versus Superman? Well, they didn't think about it. I think that's where it all comes down, is they're just not thinking about how this impacts the larger universe. And they just keep making these actions to make something pretty happen for the fans, but they're just not considering the value.
Isn't it actually time that DC just gave up on their universe and just make standalone movies that are good or try to be good, and just say it out loud? We don't care about continuity. We just make standalone movies for you to enjoy, but don't expect them to connect and make sense in any way when you tie them together. What do you guys think about that?
They've had a lot of success in their animated universe, which is my favorite section of theirs, because they aren't doing the connected universe. They just consistently come up with a good product and they make a good story out of it. I really respect DC when they do that sort of thing. It's easy. They don't have the extended option where they're having to tie everything together. But if you can produce a good, entertaining film, that's fine. I worry that what they did here was fail to produce a good, entertaining film in the pursuit of trying to make something larger.
Cheetah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, that's this?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it seems like they really don't care, because I thought like with that after credit scene there was gonna be something tying something together, or we'll know something about a future move, but no, it was just a cameo from the old Wonder Woman, which was cool, but it didn't move the story forward or connect to anything. So maybe they've given up. Yeah.
Taylor?
Yeah, I agree completely. I would love them to just say, we're not doing a shared universe. We're going to produce a whole bunch of movies with these characters. Maybe someday we'll do a crossover. But they're never going to do that, because that would be an admission of failure, an admission of inferiority to Marvel. Right?
Yeah.
It just would be. Even if smart people like us wouldn't take it that way. The rest of the world
Actually,
would, or the bosses. Let's put it this way: the bosses at Warner Brothers would take it that way.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it's ever going to happen. They're just going to continue to flounder. I have no idea who's in charge over there. And they've produced a lot of good products. I like a lot of their movies. Heck, I like all of them. I like some of them less than others, but I like them. You know, I loved Aquaman. I like Shazam. You know, I could go on and on with pros and cons. That's another podcast. But there's just, I don't really, who is in charge? Who is making these decisions? Who's steering this ship? Because it's just falling apart.
Yeah, I actually would applaud them if they just had the guts to do this and say, hey, Marvel, what you're doing, great, well done, keep on doing it, we love it or we don't, but it's not our thing. We are going to do this. We are DC, we do this. At least then it's all clear. You kill all debate and they don't feel that pressure anymore. Well, then we have one thing left to do, and that's rating the movie. Cheetah, you go first.
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. Biz?
I'm still sticking with my rating, 9 out of 10. Fuck you all.
That's a whole other story. Taylor?
I give it a 7 out of 10. For reference, I gave the first Wonder Woman a 9 out of 10. So not as good as the first one.
Right. Max?
I'd give it a 6 out of 10, and that 40% is coming right off of my concerns actually for Rogue Squadron. Now, this film is actually giving me some trepidation towards that, so I'm unfortunately going to be at a 6 out of 10 on it.
Well, I don't know if Patty Jenkins is going to write Rogue Squadron when it comes to filming action and her love for fighter pilots. I actually am encouraged for that movie because I want to say this: the action was shot perfectly, beautifully, and I cannot fault her for that. And I agree with Taylor what he said first about the highway scene. That was excellent action. So if she can bring that to the Rogue Squadron movie, I think we're good.
I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with that comic book story. I think I read a bit of it, but when they used the satellites, I think that was a reference to the OMAC project. That also included Maxwell Lord in the comic books. Just a fun fact, I guess.
There were probably a lot of Easter eggs I did not have the knowledge base to actually look into and enjoy as much as some heavier DC fans might. So I do apologize if I didn't do justice by a bunch of fans on that one. It was too Easter eggy if it was in there. I feel there was too much stuff that was needed to follow up on in order to get it. Sometimes I need stuff shown to me and not just suggested.
Well, that will conclude our review of Wonder Woman 1984. Please be on the lookout for new reviews of maybe Soul. We have been talking about it. And WandaVision coming very soon. Also, podcast 9 and 10 are coming soon. So be sure to check them out.